I never told my family I was dying of blood cancer. Instead, I worked day and night to provide for them, secretly took out a life insurance policy, and only after my death did they discover that every dollar I left behind was my final gift of love and sacrifice. The day I received my death sentence, my daughter asked me for money to go to the movies with her friends. I reached into my wallet, handed her $40, and watched her skip away with a carefree smile that I knew I'd never see at my funeral. That was the moment I decided, they would never know. Not until after. Not until every bill was paid, every college fund was full, and every dream they had was financially possible. My family would remember me as their provider, not as their burden. This is the story of how I spent my last 18 months loving them the only way I knew how, in secret, in silence, and with every ounce of strength cancer couldn't steal from me. Before I begin my story, let me know in the comments where you are listening from and what time it is. I just want to know I'm not alone in this. And if you feel moved by what you hear, consider subscribing. It helps more people become aware of the reality of terminal illness and family sacrifice. Now let me tell you what really happened. My name is Michael Chen, and I was 47 years old when I learned I was dying. But let me back up a little, because you need to understand who I was before that Tuesday morning in March changed everything. I've been working at Patterson Distribution Center for 15 years, managing the night shift warehouse crew. It wasn't glamorous work, but it paid well enough to keep our modest home in suburban Ohio, put food on the table, and slowly, very slowly, save for our kids' college funds. Sarah, my wife, worked part-time at the local library, a job she loved more for the books than the paycheck. We had 3 kids. Emma was 17 and dreaming of art school, Kevin was 15 and ate through our grocery budget like a human garbage disposal, and little Lily, though at 13 she'd punch me for calling her little, was our violin prodigy. Life was tight but good. We had family movie nights on Fridays, Sarah's legendary Sunday dinners, and a tradition of terrible dad jokes that made my kids groan and secretly smile. I drove Uber on weekends to pad our savings, and Sarah sold her handmade jewelry on Etsy. We were making it work, the way millions of American families do, paycheck to paycheck, but with love to spare. The symptoms had been easy to ignore at first. Fatigue? I was 47 and working 60-hour weeks. Night sweats? The warehouse wasn't exactly climate controlled. The bruises that appeared without explanation? I was clumsy, always had been. Sarah would kiss the purple marks on my arms and joke that I needed to watch where I was going. But then came the morning, I couldn't ignore it anymore. I woke up at 4 a.m. for my shift, and the room spun like I'd been drinking, except I hadn't touched alcohol in years. My legs felt like water. I made it to the bathroom just in time to vomit, and in the harsh fluorescent light, I saw my reflection, pale as paper, dark circles like bruises under my eyes, and a fine sheen of sweat that had nothing to do with the temperature. "Honey?" Sarah's voice came through the door. "You okay?" "Just something I ate," I lied, already becoming an expert at it. "Go back to sleep." I called in sick for the first time in 5 years and drove myself to urgent care. The doctor there, a young woman who looked barely older than Emma, took one look at my blood work and referred me to a specialist immediately. Not tomorrow, not next week, immediately. Dr. Rebecca Martinez was waiting for me at Ohio Medical Center that afternoon. She had kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses and a way of delivering devastating news like she was personally shouldering half the weight of it. "Mr. Chen," she said, holding my blood work results, "your white blood cell count is extremely elevated. We need to do a bone marrow biopsy, but I want to be straight with you, I suspect we're looking at acute myeloid leukemia." The words hit me like physical blows. Acute leukemia. Cancer. "How long?" I asked, surprised at how steady my voice sounded. "Let's confirm the diagnosis first." "Doctor, I have 3 kids and a wife. I need to know what I'm looking at here." She set down the papers and looked me in the eye. "If it's AML, and depending on the subtype, with aggressive treatment, we could be looking at remission rates of." "Without treatment?" She paused. "Mr. Chen, AML requires immediate treatment. Without it?" "How long?" 6 months to 2 years, depending on how aggressive it is. "But Mr. Chen, treatment could give you many more years with your family. What does treatment cost?" And there it was. The question that would define everything that came after. She quoted numbers that might as well have been in foreign currency. Even with our insurance, the co-pays, the deductibles, the medications not covered, the time off work, it would destroy us financially. Everything we'd saved, the kids' college funds, the equity in our house, gone. "I need to think," I said. "Mr. Chen, we need to start treatment within." "I understand. I just need a day." That night, I sat in my car in the hospital parking garage for 3 hours, doing math on my phone's calculator. If I worked 60 hours a week at the warehouse, 20 hours driving Uber, I could make roughly $90,000 a year before taxes. Our bills, mortgage, utilities, food, insurance, car payments, ate up about $65,000. That left $25,000 for savings, college funds, and emergencies. Emma's art school dreams would cost at least $40,000 a year. Kevin had his heart set on engineering, state school, but still $25,000 annually. Lily's violin teacher had mentioned Juilliard in hushed, reverential tones. I couldn't even imagine that bill.